So GTA 6, of course, is coming, and it's generating a lot of discourse, a lot of, dare I say, hype. I said it. I said the word. I did it. Cancel me, I don't care. But a lot of people are talking about it, but inevitably there's going to be some people who are like, looks bad. Because of course there are. There's going to be some people who look at this and are like, oh, looks like a PS3 game to me. And we've already started to see that with some of the like artwork reveals and stuff. People being like, I don't know. I can see that there's some buildings you can't go into. I've seen that there's some stuff that that looks like a video game running on a 2020 piece of hardware. I'm not that impressed, you know? And there's people being like, I can see clipping. I can see that there's a moment where somebody's shoe clips into some of the models over there, or this lighting artifact happens. And like, they're just describing a video game, but they're freaking out. But I saw this and I just wanted to show it because I find it remarkable. Because I've heard people, and I think a lot of them are trolling, okay? This is a great example of Poes Law. If you don't know Poes Law is like a law of the internet, which is that you reach a point where you cannot tell the difference between parody and an extremist view because they're basically the same. So you can't tell if somebody's being serious or if they're just a troll because they look the same. And I think that's happened a lot with like the GTA 6 discourse of people being like, looks bad, looks like last gen or whatever. Doesn't look that upgraded. There's definitely trolling going on here, but there are some people who are just shockingly stupid, okay? Like there are some people out there who just say things and you're like, you're allowed to drive a car. I'm amazed, you know? And those are the people that I want to reference here, because I found this clip posted by John. I don't know who originally edited it. It looks like Gulmaz. I don't know. But he edited together a staging of different scenes that we see in the trailer for GTA 6 and compared it to staging using using GTA 5's tool set to just put them side by side to show like roughly what you could see in the original game, the last GTA game, and compare it to what you see just casually in the footage for GTA 6 and stuff. One of the most immediate things, like obviously it's the small details, but when you see it side by side, it really paints the clear picture. Even little things like the muscles tensing in the tricep as he starts walking and pushing through. That's insane. Dude, he's got arm hair that's like realistically rendered as he's driving around. All of these touches are just absolutely insane. The coins shifting in the drawer as he pulls it out of the cash register. Like there's so many little things and little touches. And that's where Rockstar tends to really excel, is in the fine details. But when you see this side by side, you can start to see like GTA 5 is not a bad looking game. It never was. And it's aged honestly quite well for being a 2013 video game. But when you see these side by side shots recreating similar camera angles and structure, I mean, it really paints the picture clearly how much of a massive leap this is. You gotta love Trevor. Or maybe this is Cassini game. I don't know. There's multiple watermarks on it. Who knows who the original creator is? Unfortunately, stuff gets taken and stolen every which way nowadays. But there's just a lot of these kinds of discussions going on. For example, like this one, this guy, Tani, says, flying tree in new Vice City teaser? Big red arrows pointed. It's like, bro, the nitpicking is unbelievable. Unbelievable. What are we doing? This is crazy. This is crazy. And, you know, Nick Tech points out, if you zoom in on the actual footage that Rockstar released, you can see a faint line that shows the tree isn't floating. It's futile to judge the game's quality based on a low bitrate video. And then again, LOD exists for a reason. And you shouldn't expect current gen consoles to be capable of rendering every possible object at far distance like Ferris wheel reflections. I mean, you could see it depending on the compression level. It's just, we're at a point where like the nitpicking is insane. And you better believe it. At launch, there's going to be a lot of this. It's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. But nitpicking graphics is one element that's a headache. But I did not realize, I mean, I've heard posts and read posts from people that had unrealistic expectations for like GTA 6. And, you know, they're silly. Like there was one I remember hearing years ago, like 2-3 years ago, of somebody being like, yeah, GTA 6 is going to have a, what's it called? Alimony system. And like, you can have children with characters in the game. And this is, I think, before the first trailers dropped, but they were like a breaking news leak. You can have children with characters in the game. And then you can go to the court and you have to hire lawyers, and then you fight for custody. Or if you don't want custody, you have to pay alimony, and it's an in-game system. There were other people saying like, oh, there's actually going to be a CCTV system where the police are using CCTV cameras placed throughout the map to track you. So in order to escape cops, you have to track and understand the layout of CCTV cameras all over the place. And it like starts to get crazy. Other claims like you're going to be able to go into every single building in every single condo, every single apartment in every building within the game across the board. Claims that like, you know, when you are driving, your tires realistically deplete the rubber on it. So you have to get tire replacements depending on how much you drive and the gravel that you drive on, whether you're off-roading, all that. And stuff that just starts to get crazy. Like people are just saying, I think this would be crazy. And then they assert it and somebody says, confirmed leak, my dad works at Xbox. And then it starts spreading. And dude, there are 12-year-olds who believe every word of it. They believe every single word of it. And then they're seeing these trailers, they're seeing stuff starting to be revealed about GTA 6, and they're acting like they're disappointed because it doesn't have an alimony system. You know, like it starts to get absolutely crazy. Yeah, they see the bisexual lighting and lose their minds. Exactly. Dude, I was gonna do a full like breakdown of that, but then it started, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think we're dealing with somebody who has all the cards in the deck, you know? It started to feel bad, so we just skipped past it. But yeah, that one was unbelievable. Totally serious, by the way. Absolutely heartbreaking. But that's another one of those cases where you're like, bro, these people can drive. Oh my God. But look at this. So Synth said, kind of a breakdown. These are direct responses to claims and frustrations that people expressed that they had. GTA 6 is not going to be a life simulator that allows you to enter every interior and make relationships with every NPC while taking on everyday jobs and tasks in the biggest map in gaming history with 500 hours long story that lets you roleplay as anyone and make story choices in every conversation that also is somehow playable in co-op. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of people who still think it's going to be multiplayer in the story mode. I think, honestly, part of the confusion with this has come from the massive level of like GTA roleplay servers that found a ton of success like 4 or 5 years ago that really blew up the game to another level. And so there are people whose only real exposure to GTA was in roleplay servers during lockdowns and stuff. And so that's all they've ever known. And they think that that is what GTA is. They think GTA is roleplay servers that you play with like streamers, and you each work as like a cop, you work as an ambulance driver, you work in a bank. Like they think it's going to be Roblox mixed with GTA roleplay, and they think that's what the game is. They don't have an understanding that no, that's not how this works. Maybe eventually it gets there with like additional mods and modes and stuff added, but that's just not how this works, you know? I think there will be GTA 6 online roleplay modes. That will be a thing, but I don't think at launch, it's certainly not in the story mode. That's not what it's going to be. But that's part of what's leading to these confused expectations, is that there's younger people who have never experienced the original and think that those GTA roleplay servers are what the game is, and it's just not. GTA 6 will actually most likely be, quote, a stellar 30 to 50 hour cinematic main story campaign focused on Jason and Lucia, plus their supporting cast. Yes, Rockstar's very good at cinematic storytelling. Red Dead 2 was, I think, longer, for one, because they're telling a vast story. They have a massive epilogue as well. It also, in terms of gameplay, was a much more slow and methodical game. And I think it did a very good job of immersing you with Arthur to the point where you would really take your time and like go out hunting and go out exploring. And of course, because it's on horseback, getting between objectives takes a little bit longer than if you're just taking a car driving through, you know, city streets or fields. So I think that also, you know, made the runtime a little bit longer. But yeah, probably somewhere in the range of like 50 hours, I would say is a fair bet. Quote, it's very likely that the game will have a ton of interiors, far more than any previous GTA game going off the old leaks, but not every building and apartment is enterable. This is grossly unrealistic to expect. The 3D interiors in Windows is simply a graphical effect like in Insomniac's Spider-Man. Yes, and I don't even understand what the purpose of that would be. Like, you want dev time to be spent rearranging furniture inside every condo and apartment. Like, what are we doing? Why would that make the game better? I don't understand. A map likely bigger than GTA 5, but not country sized. It will be Vice City and smaller towns surrounding it, various biomes in the countryside, swamps, forests, mountains. We've already had Rockstar list out all the major locations. A good point of comparison is imagine bigger Los Santos City with Red Dead 2 level countryside outside of it. Exactly. I think that's fair to assume. It's, again, this is partially added on by years and years of unrealistic expectations. And then also there were original leaks when the game was originally being designed that the original plan was to basically give you the full coast. So you're going to have like Florida, the Florida Keys, and then they're going to let you go down to the Caribbean, and there'd be missions where you're like literally going and smuggling drugs and stuff across islands, sailing and either driving ships and the like, or flying over vast swaths of ocean as you travel between them. And eventually that was cut down into what the map is today. But that's also partially why I think that these expectations are crazy, because there's people that heard those leaks and then extrapolated, oh, we'll be able to fly from basically the border of Florida and Georgia all the way down into like the Bahamas, and that's what they're expecting, when that's just not what it's going to be. Some people genuinely believe you'll be able to get into relationships with any NPC. This is extremely unlikely and improbable. Jason and Lucia are the canon couple. And I mean, again, it just goes to show you, they're looking at it. It starts to make sense why people have these crazy expectations when you look at it through the lens of GTA roleplay and people thinking, oh, truly next generation Rockstar unlimited budget GTA roleplay. That's what they're expecting. And that's just not what it is. These are people that a lot of them have not played like Red Dead 2. If you play Red Dead 2 and you think, okay, we'll just apply these learnings to GTA, it makes sense. You can see where they're going with it. But if you think of it just as the ultimate life sim game, you can understand why people start to just spin and spin. You won't be role-playing as different people. Again, this isn't an RPG. I believe greet/antagonize will return and be expanded from Red Dead 2, allowing us to speak to any NPC, but don't expect it to affect the story in some way. This is Jason and Lucia's story. Story mode is single player. There is no co-op playing as Jason and Lucia. Online mode is its own thing, just like in GTA 5. It is also important to note that online likely won't be available on November 19th, but instead launches a month or 2 weeks after the single player, as it was with Red Dead 2 and GTA 5. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even later than that. It could launch just a month later. It's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they wait until early 27 to launch it as its own standalone thing. That's just my expectation. Because there's also, this is something I hadn't really thought of, but an industry analyst I saw a clip of on a finance show, he brought this up when talking about Take-Two Interactive. He said he thought they were going to stagger online mode significantly by like a month or two, because he expects there to be effectively a run on the banks with console hardware, which is basically that they will sell out of PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series consoles, and like they will sell out of consoles probably close to globally in the like run up to GTA 6's launch in November. And if you then do the online launch like 2 weeks to a month after, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't interested in the story mode that want to play online. And those people will not be able to play unless they can get consoles. And so 2 weeks for restock, probably not enough time. A month or two, probably enough time to restock a decent amount. So he thinks they're going to delay it significantly and delay it by like a month or two. For people who expect and want to have this infinitely long experience of thousands of hours taking on odd jobs and role playing, I'm sure GTA Online will have a lot of that covered. Yes, but this is the big distinction, is that there are people who don't understand the distinction, which is why like we do that here. We do that here. These are different things. Okay. GTA 6, the story mode, just like Red Dead 2, it is a different thing than the online component. It's a different product entirely. And it's being treated differently and it's being designed differently. And so things that you're able to do in the online mode, you will not be able to do here, and vice versa. But it's important to understand that like just because GTA 6, the story mode, does not have X, Y, and Z that you can do on online, that does not mean therefore that the game sucks or that they lied to you because you watched some YouTuber back in 2014 say that he had GTA 6 early and these are all the crazy features, even though he totally can't show you. You know, like I think that there will be people who are going to scream and holler about how they're disappointed, or they're going to buy it, boot it up, and it's not going to be online, and they're going to be thoroughly confused because they're in some Discord server that has no idea what they're talking about. and is saying that this is just going to be like the ultimate RP experience. That's just not how it works. So I think the best way to deal with it is to be just very, very clear and upfront with people so that they understand what it is and what it isn't. But to a certain extent, it almost doesn't matter. You know, GTA and Rockstar in general, they're kind of big enough to just do what they're going to do and leave it there. Like, you know, there's going to be some people complaining about like online not launching on launch day. And there's going to be plenty more people to make fun of them. You know, yeah, those old clickbait videos from 2014, good times. I kind of want to go back and look at some of them and see some of the insane stuff that they were saying. But yeah, I think it's going to be remarkable. It's going to be great, but there's inevitably going to be people who just have a false expectation with it because they just don't, they are not interested in what's actually true. They're more interested in what sounds cool. And so they hear somebody say, I think you can romance anybody and have children and then go to court and have to pay alimony. They hear that and they think, ooh, that sounds cool. It never goes through the process of like, is that reasonable? Would that even make sense? Why would they do that? How is that fun? What's the evidence for that claim? It never passes through that checkpoint. It just starts and stops with, does that sound cool? And leaves it there. You know, that's full stop. So I am excited to see the discourse when it drops, because I think it's going to be thoroughly entertaining. And it will, I think, certainly reveal who's like actually, who's being genuine with stuff, you know, because I think that there's going to be a lot of, rage bait as well. You know, there's going to be a lot of that. A little bit of trolling, because people love a little bit of trolling. There's going to be some of that stuff, inevitably. That's just par for the course. But either way, we will talk about it and have a good time with it, because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot.
He took my thing.